Good evening, everybody. Thank you for hopping on our My Story Matters call. This is our second call that we've had. Just a little bit about this is Sandy McClure, myself, and Dr. Nancy Bryan came up with sorry, I'm going to go ahead and mute some people. An idea that we wanted to come to fruition because there are so many amazing stories, product stories, LifeVantage stories that we never get a chance to hear. And so we wanted to highlight people on this call so that they can share their amazing, incredible life transformations and stories into the world so that other people can hear them, other people in your world, in our world, in LifeVantage world, and anywhere. Because honestly, like I think about the day that I joined LifeVantage over 8 years ago. I had a story in 5 days. And if it weren't shared with me, I wouldn't have a story. And I'm not even sure where I would be today. Tonight, we are featuring Sandy McClure, another fellow executive consultant in LifeVantage. And she's going to share how she overcame. She's a breast cancer survivor, breast implant illness survivor. I've heard her a little bits and pieces of her story. I'm excited to hear it tonight because I know it's an incredible one. And you can see by just the pictures themselves that were shared all over Facebook her before and after and the transformation. And I know she's going to highlight also at the end of her story, she's going to talk about her journey on the new GLP-1 activation system as well. Both of her and I have been on it for we're closing in on a month, and it's just been amazing. So Sandy, I'm going to hand it over to you to take over and prepare to have your socks wowed.
All right, Kim. Well, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I put a little presentation together because that helps me stay on track. And sometimes it's just easier for me to tell my story this way. So here is me with my grandchildren. I'm 60 years old. I live in Creede, Colorado. And I have been, in education and teaching and coaching all my life. So this is nothing new to me. My classroom is just a little bit different now. The world is my classroom is the way I feel. But I just want to let you know that what I say tonight, I did go through breast cancer and breast implant illness. That was prior to knowing anything about LifeVantage. Had I known about LifeVantage, who knows if I ever would have had to have that happen, but that was not my story to tell. So tonight, my story is to tell this. I am going to share a little bit about my LifeVantage consultantship and a little bit about how that goes and how that gives me some freedom. But I think the whole picture, you need to know a little bit more about me. So this is my beautiful family. I have 3 amazing daughters and 3 grandchildren. And 3 great son-in-laws and 3 grandchildren and 1 on the way due in November. And so I'm very, very excited about bringing them, bringing this presentation to you so you can understand who I am and where I'm from. Again, I was a school teacher and a coach for 26 years and my girls were all players and we were very, very successful. In 2012, I found myself a single mom. My marriage ended after 26 years and I was devastated, but I, just felt like I needed to keep going for my girls. Again, I was a school teacher and a coach, and I actually found, direct sales found me quite accidentally. And I hopped on some products that helped me lose some weight, as a matter of fact. And I thought that might help me save my marriage, but it didn't. But what it did is it opened my eyes to a whole new avenue of opportunity to earn income and, creating some freedom in my life. These are my girls. I just want to be a good example for them and I want to honor them. And so here we were, just going, our world was rocked when Doug left, but we just continued on. And so what happened is I became a what we would call a rising star in another direct sales company while I was still a school teacher. Okay, so this was in Dallas Cowboy Stadium in front of 45,000 people. I was standing on stage telling my story. And it seemed like you have the world the world by the tail. Things are going really well. My daughter had just graduated from high school, and actually, I don't think she had graduated yet. Yes, she did. She had just graduated from high school, and I went to an event and I saw these people all standing on stage, and I thought, well, that's great for them. I would never be able to do that because I'm by myself. And then the following year, there I was standing on stage as one of the top leaders in the company. And so just so you know it, that all seems great when you're standing on stage and the lights are shining. It seems like your life is really, really going well. And then something like this can hit. In 2015, I was diagnosed with invasive ductal carcinoma, breast cancer. Now, this was really odd, I thought, because I always took really good care of myself. I've always been very athletic, again, eat right, do all the things. And I just didn't understand how I could get this. So clearly there was something wrong on the cellular level in my body. I went through 20 weeks of chemotherapy. Here on the left, you can see there's the port. And I will tell you that I couldn't even look at that chemo going into my body. It just made me ill to think of, what was actually going in there. I knew I was being poisoned, but the alternative to me at the time, that's all I knew, was not favorable, because I wanted to be around to share in the lives of my kids. And so if you can see up close here, after I went through breast cancer, I didn't feel well. And I thought, well, maybe that's just the effects of chemo, and this is my new normal. At least I was alive, I felt, and that was pretty great. But if you can take a look at those pictures, that was me. A lot of people didn't know that was happening, but I was swollen from day one of getting those implants in. I didn't know that though. And so I didn't put it all together for 3 years. So within those 3 years, things happened. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this. Exactly a year to the day of my diagnosis of cancer, my little grandson was born. And so you talk about peaks and valleys in your life. I was diagnosed on July 13th, 2015, and July 13th, 2016. Here I was welcoming my new grandson to the world. And so that was the reason I wanted to fight so hard and get through that. And so if you could mute your phones or mute your computers, that would really be great. Thank you. The next 2 days, so this would be 2 days after my grandson was born, I was standing on stage again in Dallas Cowboy Stadium with that other company, and I was standing here behind stage with Drew Brees. So you could see what a good guy he was. And it's just, I'll tell you a little bit about the culture of these places where we work, you guys. We were introduced to so many great people. And the reason I include this is because a lot of people might see Drew Brees as this famous star, but he and I talked that day, and all we talked about was our families and how important they were to us. And when I got done speaking on stage and sharing my story about my cancer journey, he gave me a big hug and just told me, wow, I didn't really know all that about you prior to you going out there. And so persevering through all of that, I was able to, one of the things when I was diagnosed, it caught me. I thought, am I gonna survive this to see my daughters walk down the aisle? Am I gonna see them be able to have children? And I just had to not let that get to me too much. But I will be honest that those are the things that went through my mind. It wasn't for me. It was more I wanted to be around for my kids. So Bethany got married. And then, then again, as we see these pictures, I was still not feeling well. If you can look back, I'm going to show you back here. You can see how these were my implants. Horrible. I'm telling you guys, they were big. I didn't like them. But I always had a rash on my neck, and you can't see too much of the swelling, but my eyes and everything were really swollen all of the time. And so it was a February of 2019 that I heard of breast implant illness. And I thought I had been to the hospital. I had been where I thought I was at my daughter's house one night, and I crawled into her bedroom and I reached up on the bed and I touched her and I just said hospital. And the reason I did that is because I was afraid that I was going to die in her house, and I did not want to die in her house. My head was just pounding and I did not know what was wrong. And so, no doctor, they took me to the hospital and they thought they thought I was having an aneurysm. They thought I had a brain tumor or something, but they could never find anything wrong. And so I started hearing about breast implant illness, and I thought, gosh, I wonder if that could be something I have, because I had so many of the symptoms and I just was feeling old. I mean, you can take a look at these pictures here. My eyes were swollen shut. The rashes were terrible, but even in here, I look horrible and I felt horrible. I will tell you that this picture right here, I don't know if you can see, is this last one where I'm wearing the black, was the morning of my explant in April of 2019. This was right after my explant, that night. That is the difference between the morning and night and getting those implants out. And so once I got those implants out, I never looked back. And here is me at 50 years old, and this is me at 55 years old, activated 3 months later on after I get to her, after I was introduced to LifeVantage. But here's where everything happened for me, you guys. In 2019, that company that you saw me standing on stage for, they changed their comp plan and my whole world came falling apart. But you know what? I didn't even care. I was alive. I was healthy. Well, I wouldn't say I didn't care, but it didn't affect me the way that cancer affected me, because I thought, in the grand scheme of things, I'm still alive and I'm still here. I have my health and I feel good. But my friend reached out to me about a business opportunity with LifeVantage. He didn't even tell me about the products, guys, for 7 times of him talking to me. And finally, actually, it was the 7th time he reached out to me. I said, listen, I'm going to have to tell you no in a bad way if you don't stop talking to me, but what do you even sell? And when he told me about what he sold, I said, I can't believe that you have never told me about the products. And it's because in his mind, he was just excited about the business opportunity, which is incredible. And he knew that I had just had mine taken away, but he didn't even think about telling me about the products. And so it just is a good idea for you to share the whole experience with people. And so when I told him, I don't know if what you're telling me is true, I really had a hard time believing it. I got on the products and I had some pretty incredible results. And so in August, I was just a customer, and in July I had a colonoscopy. And let's see, I started product in June. That's when he gave me some product to try. And then in July of 2019, I had a colonoscopy. And when I went in the colonoscopy, my doctor had told me, it was right after I had chemo and everything, 3 years prior to that, he said, your colon was full of precancerous polyps. He goes, you're going to have to come back in 3 years. And he said, and probably every year after that, you're going to have a colonoscopy. We really think you're headed to get colon cancer. So that was 3 years prior to me knowing about LifeVantage. And so when I went into my colonoscopy, he came in, he looked at his chart and he said, Sandy McClure, right? And I said, yes. And he said, I just had to double check. He goes, what are you doing? And I said, I don't know what you mean. And he goes, we found one minuscule precancerous polyp. He said, I don't know what you're doing, but you can't ever stop. And at that time, I just said, it's in a blue bottle. I didn't even know really what it was called or anything. I was just taking it. And he said, you need to make sure that you continue on that, because he goes, this is crazy. You won't have to come back for 5 years. And if nobody wants to do a colonoscopy every year. That was music to my ears. So myself and a few of my friends, and here's my sponsor right here, the big guy in the back, Vince, who introduced me. We flew to Utah and sat down with the corporate staff. And then I decided that this is where I wanted to make my home, because I felt like I was obligated then to tell people what I knew, because I knew that if this had this kind of impact on me, I felt obligated to share it. And so that's when I became a consultant. And then right after that, in September of 2019, my granddaughter was born. And I'll tell you what, if you have grandkids, you know what I mean? It's so awesome. But this tiny little baby was born, and then in 2 weeks, she got really sick. And we had to take her to the emergency room, and they put her in the NICU, and they did not know what was wrong with her. And they were running all kinds of tests on her. And I remembered a lady named Dr. Nancy Bryan. Remember, I was just brand new to the company. I remembered a woman named Dr. Nancy Bryan who had a granddaughter that was sick. And I knew that something about Protandim. I didn't know what, but I took a chance and I reached out and I said, you don't know me, but I need someone to help my granddaughter because she's sick and they don't know what's wrong with her. And the doctor did sit right there and said, you know, these antibiotics we're giving this baby, they could be dangerous or harmful to her, but we don't know what's going on. And so I talked to Nancy and she said, you need to have Bethany take NRF2 right away so that she can nurse and help. Bethany was losing her milk. And of course she was a stressed mother. You can see her here on the left. And I said to this doctor, I said, I would like for my daughter to have this. And she said, well, I wouldn't take it. Who sells it? And I said, that's not the point. I'm not asking you to buy anything. I just want to know what in this would hurt my granddaughter. And she looked at it and she said, I'll have to let you know tomorrow. And Bethany was just like really trusting the doctor. So she came back the next day and she said, well, there's really nothing in there would hurt her, but I wouldn't take it. And I said, I'm not asking you to. Here, Bethany, take it. And within 2 hours, Bethany's milk came back. Blake was nursing. And we had a full-on turnaround, and there was no explanation for it, you guys. They never did know what was wrong with Blake, but here she is in our arms and ready to discharge. They kept her in that hospital 2 more days just because they had no idea what had changed. But I was hearing the conversations out in the hall among all the doctors and nurses about this blue bottle, this yellow pill, and it was amazing. And so that, again, I knew I was in the right place, and that I feel like had it not been for Protandim, I don't know if my granddaughter would have lived. I can't say that for certain, but it was just a turnaround. So then later that year, I got to meet some of the people in LifeVantage. Dr. Lee Seward, he is one of the formulators of our pet tandem, and he's a formulator of HeartGuard. And so these are the kind of people who we're surrounded with. A Dr. Nancy Bryan who can give me the confidence to give something to my daughter to help my granddaughter get better. And then we have Dr. Lee Seward. It's just amazing. What happened then was January 2020 rolled around, you guys, and I have a very, very strong relationship with my mom. And it was getting to the point where she was unable to take care of herself. So these pictures of her are of her moving out of the home that she lived in for several years, many, many years. And I was able to, because of LifeVantage, be able to rent a townhome in Colorado Springs, which was about 45 minutes away from this home that I grew up in. And this is my home I grew up in. And I was able to take my mom to that home and live with her so that I could take care of her. And the best part about that is, if you remember what happened in 2020, if I would have had her go to an assisted living or nursing home, I never would have gotten to see her again. So I'm so grateful for LifeVantage and the fact that I had the freedom and the time freedom to be able to take care of my mom and be with her. I moved her into that new apartment. She loved it. And actually, we didn't know if that was going to be for 5 days, 5 years, 5 months. She really was okay. She just was slowing down and just needed somebody. And in May of 2021, I think it was, or 2020, and I think it was just because of all the nonsense with the virus and everything that was going around. She couldn't watch her sports or anything. She was just tired. And this was just 2 days before she went into a coma. And this was just a few days right before as well. And she passed away in my arms. So I was able to hold my mom in her arms as she left this earth onto her heavenly home. And there was just nothing more precious than that kind of thing. And so I really am grateful for LifeVantage to give me that time with my mom, and also to give me the activation to be able to get through that time and have the wherewithal to be strong for my entire family. And so she was the light of my life. She was there for me and all of that. She did tell me a couple of days before she passed away, when I was giving her a shower, she said, Sandy, I hope when I'm gone, I hope that you'll take a little bit better care of yourself. You're always so busy taking care of me. And it was a lot, I will tell you, but I would not change anything. I wasn't getting any sleep and I was not taking care of myself. And so this was what this was the end result of that. This is the day that my mom died, right here on the left. And I didn't really see what my mom was seeing, but I had really put on a lot of weight and I didn't look healthy. And so I kept that promise to her. I wrote a note and I said, this was for you, Mom. I'm going to go on this journey. And I did start taking better care of myself again, fully activated and everything. I got back into being able to exercise and do the things I love and eat better and get proper rest. And so I credit LifeVantage and the products for doing that. I will tell you that right after I joined LifeVantage, a product called NAD came out, and that was the third synergizer that we have. And for some reason, I had neuropathy in my hands, in my feet. And 4 days after taking that, I came back. I was in California at an event with LifeVantage. They introduced that product. I came back here. I walked into my kitchen and I told my husband, man, my feet and my hands hurt so bad. And he just looked at me, and then I started crying and he said, are you okay? And I said, did you hear me? My feet hurt. I could finally feel my feet. And I don't know if it was just something that was supposed to happen, but I wasn't able to feel my feet before on hikes and everything. So I immediately went to my oncologist and said, you're not going to believe this. And he said, well, what is it? What is it? You must tell me, because so many people struggle with that. And then when I told him what it was, he was like, well, that's really nice. He didn't want to hear anymore. but he said, don't ever stop doing what you were doing, because it's not a pharmaceutical. So, I don't know if that's what led to me not having that neuropathy anymore, but I will tell you, it's been just life-changing for me. And so, after that, my mom also promised me to work hard. She knew that there was an opportunity for me to earn a Jeep or a cash prize through LifeVantage. And she said, I really want you to strive for that. I wish I could be here to see that happen. And it happened. And so that was just, all of this going through with LifeVantage. I was able to keep that promise to her as well. And then again, to be able to see 2 more daughters, you guys, it's just nothing like being able to see your daughters walk down the aisle when that's all you dream about. Again, I was just so grateful to do that. But you can see I'm just getting healthier and healthier as time goes on, and as I'm feeling so much better. Again, this is after the explant. And so everything that I was doing, activating my cells, getting all of that junk out of me and cleaned out of me from having those implants that were just toxic to me, truly, I feel like were killing me. I was starting to glow and feel so much better. And so you can see that in here. And I just really felt like I got to have my life back. And I credit that to, I think I would have felt better anyway, but being able to detox and get all of the metals and things out of my body, it really, really helped. And so then my journey just kept going on, and I'm a biohacker. I use all of the products, the whole range of them, even the pet tandem my dog uses. And I'll tell you that it has just made me feel so good and been able to get me back into shape. Again, this was at 58 years old here in this picture, and I feel very strong and capable. And again, my whole digestive tract, everything is on point where it wasn't before. This was in 2022, June of 2022. Here's all the prescription drugs that the doctor gave me. I denied every one of those. I didn't take any prescription drugs that morning. My husband came in after my surgery in the Stedman Clinic in Vail, Colorado, where they work on world-class athletes, just so you know. And he gave me my Synergizer, and I was ready to go. I said to the doctor, can I leave now? And he said, well, here's your crutches. And I said, I don't want crutches. I walked out of that hospital, and he told me that's the first time he ever had anybody walk out of the hospital after knee surgery without any help. So this is me at 9:30 a.m. There's my 7 a.m. going into surgery, and 9:30 a.m. I walked 3 miles that day. Probably did it a little bit overboard, but I was just so excited to feel better and to get out of there. And my doctor was absolutely blown away. The best part about that was 2 weeks later, our new collagen came out. And so I didn't even have to, I had full range of motion within just a very short period of time. And I didn't even have to go back to Vail for my checkup. He said, we can just do this by FaceTime. He said, you're doing so well. And so that strength and everything in my knee, I could not believe how great I felt. So, this was 2022. Then I was able to, again, because of LifeVantage, to hop on a plane. There was a hurricane in Florida. My grandson, that hurricane sent my daughter into labor. So I was able to just hop on a plane, the first one into Orlando once the airport opened, and I got there that morning, just in time to be there on the day that my grandson was born. So she had him in a birthing center in a water birth. And then this was just a few hours after they had Brooks, they came home and I got to hold him in my arms again, all due to the time freedom that I could just hop on a plane and go to Florida. And so it's just, I can't tell you how I just can't even put into words what this means to me to have this kind of life. And so then, as far as some of the other products, the skincare products, my husband and I both on the skincare products, there's just a whole range of things you can just see, aging backwards is exactly what I feel is happening to me. Every single time a new product comes out, I take it and it's something more that I need. The IC Bright came out. It was a great product for me because I'm on my computer a lot. My night vision just improved. And you guys, I don't have to tell you how good I feel. I think you can probably just see how good I feel. And the best part about this is the newest product coming up now is clearly I put on a little bit of weight again. That fluctuates, but our new GLP-1 product, Kim was just talking about this, that she and I both got on this product 3 weeks ago, a little over 3 weeks ago. We earned the trip to Park City, Utah, where we earned the right to hop on this product and do a pre-launch trial. And this launch is coming October 11th, you guys. And I really didn't feel like I had a whole lot of weight to lose. But in 3 weeks, I've lost 9 pounds, 13 inches where I've measured, but I know I've lost more inches than that because I didn't measure my neck. But I have not changed one thing that I've been doing, other than I haven't been exercising as much as I want to, but I haven't changed one thing as far as the way I eat or anything. And what has happened to me is, Kim and I were talking prior to this, I just feel so dialed in. I've been super busy. There's been a lot going on. And for me to be able to just keep up with that and do everything, it's been incredible to me. The food noise, I don't really have that anyway. I think I caught a handle on that before, but if you guys have ever been, had issues where you're not even hungry, but you just eat to eat, that's food noise, things like that. There's going to be so many great things that come of this for you. And again, for me, it's just been, I can't even describe how great I feel, but you can see, I mean, my shirts and everything are loose. And well, the thing about this is it's natural. So when you take it, that's our tagline, take it to make it. When we take NRF2, our body makes antioxidants. When we take the collagen, our body goes to work making collagen. And when we take the GLP-1 system, our body goes to work making its own GLP-1, giving us all of the things that we need to control our weight. Now, I don't feel like I'm eating any more or any less than I did before. Really, I'm just doing the same things. But now on those target areas that were so hard before, I'm losing that. I always call that my butt leg because I used to have a butt and I used to have a leg. And then all of a sudden I had a butt leg where it was just one thing. And so now you can see, I mean, it almost looks like I've ironed my shorts, but I haven't. Those are the same shorts, same pictures, same place, day one and 3 weeks later. So this is what I was talking about. Nobody really wants to take that first picture, but you need to take those pictures because you want to know just how far you've come. And again, this is just another layer of activation for me to make me feel great. This is one of the things that just excites me most, you guys, is my daughter, Lindsay, had a very big scare she had a ectopic pregnancy and we almost lost her. And she came out of that so strong. And we really credit that to her being activated, fully activated too. And now she's pregnant. We didn't think she's going to be able to get pregnant. She's pregnant and due to have a baby in November, and everything's looking really, really good. And so that's baby Grace right there on that little, those little beads that spells her name. And we give God all, the grace and the glory to him for getting us through all of this. So these are the moments that I say, these are the moments we live for, being able to see grandchildren, to be able to be there for them to know us. And as I say, what will your activation story be? What will it be? I've gone from this to this, okay? That's my explant day, that's 5 years from the top picture to the bottom picture. I just happened to snap that picture on April 8th. And that is the difference. You can see all that inflammation gone, and I just feel like a different person, and I feel like I have a big purpose, and that purpose is to serve. So if you're not activated, I want you to just think about, if not for you, for those people that you love, because life is short. We want to live it well. And for me, I want to live to be die young at a ripe old age. So Kim, I'm going to throw it back to you, and we can answer any questions if we need to. Kim, you're muted.
Thank you, Sandy. That was such an incredible story. Unbelievable. And it just never ceases to amaze me what activation can do for the body, and why you, myself, many people on here cannot keep it a secret, cannot keep it quiet, because everybody deserves to hear about this. Everybody deserves to at least be able to decide if it's something that they want in their life or not. And even if they say no, we all know that half the time they don't even know what they're saying no to, just like you. When you said, honestly, I don't even know what is it that you sell at, finally, after all that time. And then, I mean, I can't tell you how many people come back and they're like, okay, what is it? And they might see something that resonates, which is why these stories are so important. And if you have had a life transformation on our products, feel free to reach out to whoever invited you on this Zoom this evening, and let us know, because we are going to start, taking names and sharing stories as we go. So our next My Story Matters is going to be Kim and Bonnie Heath, and we are going to be sharing their transformation with some of their horses and how it completely changed their horses' lives, because I don't think enough people also understand that our activators are not just for human beings. They're for dogs, they're for horses, they're for mammals. So thank you for being on, and just keep watching for the next My Story Matters. We also will be having our second doc talk coming up, and we will let you know all the details on those dates as well. So I hope you have a great night. I know we're going to stop the recording and open for questions.